My name's Geoff. Rewind. Hi, everyone. My name's Geoff. I'm an alcoholic. I also did drugs, and I'm grateful to AA for being sober today. Mary, please give me a warning, 2-minute warning when I come to the end of my share. Actually, it's much harder to share for 15 minutes than it is for an hour because I have to fit a lot of sober life into a short period of time. But I want to thank you. It's always an honor and a privilege to lead a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. And when I do share or speak, there's a line from the big book which basically explains my life. It says, alcohol gave me wings to fly, and then alcohol took away the sky. I loved the beverage alcohol from the first day that I ever drank it, and I always wanted more. And the same went for drugs. I A lot of people, some people drink for the taste. The taste was very secondary to me. For me, it was to numb my feelings and to get buzzed, to feel good, and I did. I drank for 10 years, from the age of 15 to the age of 25, and unfortunately, I didn't grow in those years because I was partying and drinking and not being a very responsible adolescent or teenager, and I had to pay the price. But going back, I just want to just give a little history. I think it's important. I happened to be born in South Africa in 1962. I lived there until 1977. I certainly remember that the emotion that my parents taught me was fear, to fear Black people and to fear them. And I certainly did, especially my mother. My mother was a borderline mother. Actually read a book. Somebody gave it to me in Alcoholics Anonymous called The Borderline Mother. And it explained a lot. She also happened to be a child abuser. She beat me with anything and everything she could until I was the age of 15. When we came to America, I started lifting weights. One day she was about to strike me, and I grabbed her hand and said, you hit me, I'll hit you back. And she never hit me again. And, she wore the pants in the family. My father made the money. He was, him and his brother, one of the first two brothers to go to Harvard in 1959. He got an MBA, and he was a pretty smart guy. He also had Asperger's. And towards the end of his life, definitely, I would say the last 10 years of his life, he would refer to my mother as mommy, which kind of was fucked up because that made him my brother, maybe. Anyway, he used to have a poem when I was young, and it went like this: good, better, best. Never shall I rest till my good is better and my better best. So in our family, with my sister, we were basically told that an A was average, a B was bad, and a C was crap. So I always had to constantly achieve, and that was I think that, or let me put it this way, I interpreted that their love for me was conditional upon me succeeding in, especially in schoolwork, also in sports, and it just caused immense anxiety in my life. And later on, I know that I don't know if I became bipolar, but it was definitely a chemical imbalance in my brain. And let's put it this way: the anxiety that I had living with those two people did not help, and alcohol certainly did. When I found alcohol, I found this magic elixir that would transport me into another realm. I would sometimes, because of alcohol, I broke in, I blacked out, I fell down, and I threw up. And it didn't seem to bother me. I just thought that I could not conceive life without alcohol. Um, During high school, I had I was very fearful of teenage girls, and did not have a girlfriend until I got to college. And when I started drinking, it gave me liquid courage, and I could say things to women that I would never say if I wasn't drinking, and I was not a nice person at times. I was very cutting with words. I wasn't, thank goodness, violent. I had enough from my mother regarding that issue, and yeah, I went to Beverly Hills Get High School. It was a crazy, crazy 3 years because I skipped freshman year, which was a big mistake. But I managed to get out of high school without dying, and I could have died many times. I mean, I blacked out so many times drinking and using. I also drove drunk. I never got a DUI, which was very lucky. I talked my way out of it a couple times, and I did get. Um, I was pulled over, and they did a breathalyzer test, and I passed for some strange reason. But drinking was a way of life for me, and then I found, my mother took me to my first Alcoholics Anonymous meeting when I was about 20. And I remember when she drove me home, I jumped out of the car on Wilshire Boulevard, and a bus was coming. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And it was over 35 years ago. And if I had slipped, I would not be sleeping tonight. It was a close one. I just thought that my life was over, that the party was over, that now I was going to be punished for the rest of my life because I couldn't drink or use. And alcoholism, the disease of alcoholism, is a disease of perception. Little did I know that my life was just really about to start, that I would become the person that I liked, and that other people would like me. They wouldn't say leave. They wouldn't not invite me to parties. And when I got sober, my relationship with my parents got astronomically better. My In this book, The Bipolar Mother, it talks about 4 types of mothers: the waif, the queen, the witch, and the hermit. And my mother was a hermit witch. But she also gave me 10 cakes in a row in Alcoholics Anonymous. And she was my greatest supporter when I got sober. So, what I wanted to just mention is a couple of lines from the big book that really changed my life. One of them is love and tolerance of other people is our code. When I read that, it was like a light bulb went on, because I was brought up in South Africa during apartheid as a racist, and I was also homophobic. And because of not only AA, but AA was played an instrumental part of me, just becoming a kinder, gentler person, you know, one who believed in the human race and not in division. And yeah, there was some Black African-American people who really had a major impact on my life in my early sobriety. Another line in the big book is, it's actually on page 20, and it says, as an ex-problem drinker, our very lives depend on the constant thought of others and how we can help them meet their needs. And it's interesting how they phrase that, you know, you take alcohol out of my system, then I'm not, you know, the alcohol is not the problem. The problem is the disease of alcoholism, and that all, you know, the ism is I, self, and me. I always thought until I came to AA that I was the center of the universe, that my needs superseded everyone else's, and that wasn't true. You know, that was just a perception that I had, and it was a rude awakening when I went through the steps, especially step 4 and 5. But you know, that was what I call the medicine that I needed to change. You know, this whole program is about change. And the other line, the last line I'm just going to mention is that we fully learned to concede to our innermost selves that we're alcoholics. This is the first step in recovery. That is something that I had to do. And I'm going to give a quick story. There was a guy, his name was Jerry, and he had big muscles. He owned his own company. He drove a red Corvette, and he had a gorgeous Korean girlfriend. My wife was, later on, was Thai. And Jerry got 10 years in the program. And then I didn't see Jerry for quite a while, and I saw him at a meeting, and I took a cake for, I think, 2 or 3 years, and Jerry took a cake for 1 year, and I hadn't seen him for. And I said, Jerry, what happened? And he said, I didn't concede to my innermost self that I was an alcoholic. So, you know, I'm an alcoholic on a cellular level, and I have to remember. I'll be, you know, this is a program of honesty. I don't wake up as with 35 years of sobriety every day remembering that I'm an alcoholic until about, you know, maybe an hour into the day. But in my first 5 years of AA, that was the first thought that crossed my mind. I had my readings that I would do in the mornings. I had readings that I would do in the night. And there was a guy named Kurt who always used to say, get the day before the day gets you. He would say, you know, that the alcoholic has a shitty committee in their head. And another guy said that Rufus gets up before he does, and he has to tell Rufus to shut up and go back to bed. I will say categorically that, you know, the disease of alcoholism is an obsession, an allergy of the body, an obsession of the mind. And the allergy was arrested many, many years ago, but my mind still constantly goes, you know. And in AA, with meditation, I've been able to quieten the mind. Not all the time, but most of the time. There were no newcomers tonight. That was interesting. I think that's maybe a first for this meeting, but I know there are people with less time, with people are counting days. Mary, did I see something across the screen? How much more time do I have?
You can have a couple more minutes. You can start wrapping up.
Okay, time to wrap it up. Great. So, what I just wanted to say was that it's one day at a time. The first drink will get you drunk, and that a thousand's, one's too many and a thousand's not enough. I've basically been regurgitating that on a daily basis for the last 35 years, and I have no desire to drink today because so many wonderful things have happened in my life. I'm just going to end pretty much with this. I was married for 30 years, and we just grew apart completely. And then there was COVID, and so we got divorced. And for 2 years since my divorce, I was not in a relationship. And March 23rd of this year, I got into a relationship. And it was told to me in early sobriety when I wasn't in a relationship, to learn how to love myself. And my sponsor used to say, Geoff, the woman you're going to meet doesn't want to know you now. She wants to know you when you've done the work. And in the last 2 years, I did a lot of work, physically, spiritually, whatever that means. I mean, just like self-talk about I'm good enough, that and again, quietening the mind and learning. They say in AA, keep coming back. Let us love you until you can love yourself. And the last thing I'm just going to share is that an all-night place is a fucking awesome place to be on any given night at 10 o'clock in California, and I'm sure around the world. It's really, really a special group. And I was fortunate to be in AA with in quote unquote, regular traditional meetings. But there's something about, obviously, this is we agnostic, which is on a whole nother level. And one does not have to have a higher power to get sober and stay sober and have an enjoyable life. And the most spiritual thing I'll ever do, not take the first drink. Thanks for letting me share.